I'm sorry I'm running a little late to the party. Hello. Welcome to the Mimi Show. It's a little noisy in my house today. Hello, is Terry still here? She probably left. I'm late. Valentine's Day is still low tune the news. Good morning to you too. Hello. Tune the news. Tune the news. Hi, Terry. Yes, still here. Good to see you. We're going to find out what's going on with Nancy Guthrie. Then we're going to watch Obama's video and get his response after Donald Trump showed him as a monkey. And then we're going to move on to Meghan. And I want to talk about Andrew. I think they're trying to force the king out, which is not fair, because the king did not have the sins of his brother. He is not responsible for the sins of his brother. Hello. Hi, Demon Dictator. Terry's here with us. Tune the News is here with us. Demon Dictator. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining the Mimi Show. A couple of more minutes. I'm going to get into the main event. That's Susan.
And that's what you could do. You could drop her off, and then.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. The search continues now more than 2 weeks since Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of debate Joe.
Nancy's
All right,
daughter,
welcome back in here to
out
Live
again.
Now from Fox. I am Andy.
Developments this morning, the search for Nancy Guthrie. Her daughter Savannah posted another emotional message on Instagram. This, of course, marks 2 weeks now since the mother was kidnapped.
So we want to get to Caroline Elliott because you have the latest from Tucson, and it's like we're really waiting for those DNA results.
Yeah, Thomas, Alex, we know that investigators found 16 gloves during this search, but there's one glove in particular they're really focusing in on right now. That's a glove that was found about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. Investigators say that glove appears to match the glove that the suspect was wearing in the surveillance video. And they also said the DNA profile on that glove was different. The family now saying they could really use a breakthrough in this.
So Savannah releases a new video. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Lady Spice. Yes, Tune in Noon. They found one glove, and one glove is standing out. They believe it could be the suspect. It was found 2 miles from her house, and maybe he threw it out the window like an idiot. You know, they're not very smart. Robbers and kidnappers, any of them, they're not very smart.
This case.
It is never too late to do the right thing.
A newly shared video to social media, Savannah Guthrie says her family has not lost any.
She looks sick. She doesn't look well. She's like she hadn't had no sleep. Like she is just not doing well. Does she look good to y'all? How does Susan look? Susanna look? Suzanne. Savannah. Savannah. She looks like she's just exhausted. Like she just had to clean up my house. Just a joke. Just a joke. She looks exhausted, tired, fatigued. I feel sorry for her. Yep, she aged a whole year, Demon Dictator. Aged a whole year. Look what they put on her. They put this stress, oh my God. I can't even imagine the worry. She looks defeated. I feel so bad for her. She didn't age 10 years, more like 10 than 1. Yeah, look at her. Look at her eyes. She's been crying. She ain't been able to sleep. Her hair done turned gray on the side. Oh, baby. Oh, Savannah. New DNA clues emerges in searches for Savannah Guthrie's mother. See what else they're saying.
Hope as the search for her 84-year-old mom enters its 3rd week.
Third week. Essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
The FBI says DNA has been recovered from a glove found about 2 miles from Nancy's Tucson home. The agency says it appears to look like the one worn by the suspect captured on surveillance video outside the home.
DNA.
So it looks like it belongs to this man right here in this video, this scum bucket right here, his glove. So it's not like the news, like TV, where we find out right away what's going on. But I assume that if this is the guy, they need to give us a press conference and tell us who they have in custody and what they're going to do next. Interesting.
The suspect.
I still think it's an inside job. I just don't think it's a random kidnapping. I do too, Demon Dictator. I hope they at least find out why and find out their mom. Find their mom either way. I agree with you 100%. There was a video of her walking out with them. There's a video with them walking out because I thought he covered it. There's a video out there, according to Demon Dictator, her mom walking out of the house with them. Was it more than one?
Captured on surveillance video outside the home.
DNA is not like a TV show where you get the results with.
Yeah, it's not like the TV show. Go get the DNA, and the next thing you know, they got the DNA results. It takes time and precision, and it just takes time. It takes time to get these results.
In no time, and you figure out who did it by the end of the show. DNA is it takes time.
If the DNA is a match, it could help investigators identify the individual described as 5'9" and 5'10" with an average build.
Officers will receive leads. They're gonna, beat those down to their ultimate end.
Investigators are still going through tens of thousands of tips and potential evidence after conducting multiple late-night searches over the weekend with no arrests. Pima County Sheriff Chris Vanos says more operations are expected in the coming days.
And the FBI says it received preliminary DNA results on Saturday, and that sample will now go into CODIS, which is the Bureau's national database. We are told that this process typically takes about 24 hours. So here on the ground, we could very well have some answers relatively soon.
Yeah,
Thomas,
we'll certainly
Alex.
be waiting for those results there. I mean, with all the new developments that
they are going to put it in the CODIS database, the forensics information, and the CODIS should come up with a match. But regardless if it comes up with a match or not, they believe that the glove matches the suspect. His DNA is matching it. That's what we have so far. The guy that was at the door putting those shrubs or flowers in front of the camera, it is his glove. That is not word on the curb. It is official.
tips coming in. Is there an area, Caroline, that they're specifically focusing on?
Yeah, so we know here in the Tucson area in the last 48 hours, we have seen searches all over the area, many happening just miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. Thomas, I think the biggest focus right now, really, it's that set of gloves we were talking about and that DNA profile that was different. So that's really going to be the focus for investigators moving forward here.
To be a major break in the case. Caroline Elliott from Tucson this morning. We do appreciate the update. Caroline, thank you.
We begin here again. Big breaking news overnight. Savannah Guthrie posting a brand new video plea. Have you seen it yet on social media? Urging whoever may have her mother or know anything about where she may be to please come forward. Take a look.
It's never too late.
Ooh.
And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing.
This newest video follows several huge developments that we got in over the weekend. Chief among them, the FBI confirming that the glove they found near Nancy Guthrie's home, remember just a couple miles away, does appear to be the same one that the alleged kidnapper was wearing in that surveillance video right from her front porch. News Nation national correspondent Jessica Cartalia is live for us in Tucson. Jessica, you've been working all weekend. We know investigators were able to get some male DNA from that glove. Any idea if they've gotten any names or hits off of it yet?
We are still in this critical 24-hour period, Marky, that could significantly change the course of this investigation. And all of this coming as Savannah released that heartbreaking video saying that, look, we know she's still out there. We're thinking positively. Do the right thing. Bring her to us. We want our mother back. The FBI is confirming that that key piece of evidence from the glove is being entered into CODIS. So I want to be very specific here. This all started more questions than we had at this point yesterday. And here's why. That information goes to the CODIS, which is the DNA database. And so now this is a waiting game. But the big question is that glove stuck out for some reason. It's not to say that it is this glove that this person is wearing, but it resembles it. So at this point, they're trying to figure out, could it be a match? A glove containing DNA, as we know, was found 2 miles from here. It appears to match this one that you see on your screen that was captured on Nancy's doorbell camera the night she disappeared. It was found in a field near a busy road outside of this neighborhood. That's Campbell Ave that we've been talking about. The FBI says it has preliminary results from a private lab in Florida that we've been telling you about. It is now awaiting that official confirmation. They said this could take 24 hours. We are getting close to that 24-hour mark. If that unknown male profile matches in CODIS, investigators could potentially have a name. Authorities are also following another high-tech lead. You just saw that on your screen. The FBI deployed what is called a signal sniffer. It's mounted on a helicopter in an attempt to detect Guthrie's pacemaker. So if we can pull that photo or that image of that helicopter up, I just want to show you how low this flies. An FBI source describes the device as very sophisticated technology. It can identify or detect a ping very close to the brush. Investigators are also taking a closer look at that $10 Walmart gun holster seen in that Nest camera. We've been talking about this for a while. It really stood out because it identifies him as someone that would not have a connection with law enforcement, someone with military experience, a former law enforcement official wouldn't, or anybody who has had any kind of experience with a gun would not carry it in the front part of their body, but rather if he's left-handed, as we know in this case he is, would be on the left side of their body, on the left hip. So again, Marky, we are in this critical 24-hour window. That video that Savannah released last night, absolutely heartbreaking. It is hard to believe that we are now starting our third week of this, day 16, since Nancy Guthrie went missing from her home here in Tucson.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.
What is this thing about a gun holster?
We begin here again. Big breaking news overnight. Savannah Guthrie posting a brand new.
They have something about the gun holster. And what else do we have? Let's see.
For News Nation, senior story producer Paula Froelich has closely tracked this case. Sources are telling her now that Savannah Guthrie may not return to the Today Show after her mom was apparently kidnapped. Of course, this has been an extremely traumatizing experience for Savannah and her siblings. Their mom just taken in the middle of the night, the ransom notes being sent demanding millions very publicly. And weeks later, still no word on where their mom could be tonight, even though the family assures the kidnappers that they will pay their demands. For more, we are now joined by Paula Froelich. Paula, appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday night. And I understand your sources are saying that Savannah just may not be returning to the Today Show after this. I think all of us can understand that. Savannah reportedly saying that she feels like her mom was targeted because of her, realizing that her husbands, her kids, her siblings could become targets as well. What more can you tell us about this report and overall how Savannah is doing now?
I mean, Savannah's a mess, obviously. We've seen it. We all empathize. And, as you said, people would get it if she needed a very long break. First of all, we don't even know where her mother is. We don't know if she's alive. We're all hoping she is. But
Hi,
life
Lisa.
for Savannah is
Lisa.
very different right now. And it's
It's
going to
awful.
be different going forward. You know, she has to worry about not just her mother, she has to worry about her sister, her brother, her 2 children, and her husband, because this is the unimaginable horror of what she's looking at. And going forward, there will be security for everybody at all times, because this absolutely came out of the blue. And I think she's really concerned that it was because of her job. You know, there was that Today Show where they did the at home with, and she took viewers to Tucson. She's introduced viewers to her mom before, and people with bad characters could easily look at something like that and say, oh, this is an elderly woman who lives alone. Okay, we're going to take advantage of that. And it's just, I don't think she can function right now very well.
Of course not. And we still don't know a motive here. Do you believe that there is more behind the scenes that the public does not know about why exactly Nancy could have been targeted and kidnapped here?
I think there's always more than the public knows, because of course the police and the FBI need to keep things very close to the vest. However, there are things, again, leading back to the at home with, and people seeing this, and people also understand, you know, Savannah is very high profile and her salary is in the millions. This has been printed before. So unfortunately, people say, oh yes, this is an easy mark.
Yeah, and tell me more about the At Home With segment and her inclusion, you know, for all of the viewers who watch the Today Show. Were there enough identifying characteristics there where someone would have been able to piece together where this home is, the address of it?
Sorry, I was on mute. Did you hear? I said hello, Lisa. Hopefully you heard me because I hit the mute button. Rocky's on a terror today. Rocky's on a terror. Rockadoo. I don't think it was her job. I don't think her job is making. Let me go get Rockadoo Little.
Information, as you say, there are opportunistic people out there.
Unfortunately, AI and Google are very good. Most people can find out the address of almost anyone in this day and age, unless the house is bought by an LLC or a private company, which most people don't do. So it's actually very easy. And looking at this video of her with the at home, it's very easy to look at someone and say, okay, she's not going to be well guarded. I can find out where she lives and everything about her in, I don't know, 10 hot seconds.
I hear
it's terrifying.
It is terrifying. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this tonight. Paula Froelich, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thank you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.
So they may think, well, there's some reason to believe that she's still in this area. Additionally, they could have a lot of tips coming in, all stating we've seen things, heard things all about this area, that's really the hot zone. So it seems like they are zoning in on that, Rio Rico and the Catalina foothills. So for all we know.
What is going on, Chief High Smoke? Back to you.
This is a theory of what may have happened to her, okay? He's saying that someone had some gambling debts and Nancy said she wasn't paying for them anymore. Now, let's see what this gentleman has to say. Let's see. I haven't heard from him. I don't know what he has to say, but the title of the video is Nancy Guthrie, stop paying Tomiso gambling debts. Now, I don't know who he is. Is that the son-in-law? I wonder if that's the son-in-law. And here's the thing. I think that it's still an inside job. I do. I still think it's an inside job. All right, let's see here. Okay, which one is this one? Okay, let's go back here. I lost it. Totally lost it. Okay. You guys tell me what you think. Do you think it's an inside job or no? Are we pulling strings here? Why would some random person come and take Nancy? It's just, here we go.
Another one in this Nancy Guthrie case is messed up beyond all repair. What is happening here is you have a sheriff that's feuding with the FBI. They're missing out on clues. They found a glove about 10 days later. Everybody wants to be the next Ben Matlock and solve the crime. All these guys want to do is get promoted, find the clue, find Nancy, make the money, get the promotion. You got way too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Nobody is stepping up in a leadership role with
he
law
wants a morning
enforcement
tree.
and trying to find Nancy. Now, let's get into the suspect. He's about 5'10", in the range of 200 to 210 pounds. And
Marine. Hello, by the way.
That hunch, that's someone that's been incarcerated before. We know that everything was purchased at Walmart, from the mask to the pants to the jacket, 110 pounds. And just by the way he walks it with that hunch in trying to find Nancy. Now, let's get into the suspect. He's about 5'10", in the range of 200 to 210 pounds. And just by the way he walks it with that hunch, that's someone that's been incarcerated before. We know that everything was purchased at Walmart, from the mask to the pants to the jacket to the gloves to the backpack.
Get out of there.
These were purchased at a local Walmart in Tucson. I'm calling this guy the Wally World Bandit because everything was purchased at Walmart. Now I have 3 theories about what happened and what could have went wrong in this situation. I think the first one could be a robbery that went wrong, possibly someone that cased out this area, knew there was an elderly person there, or possibly thought there was nobody there, entered that house and was going through some things, made some noise. Nancy wakes up, she screams. That's when her heart races on the pacemaker. He pistol whips her, doesn't unalive her at that point, but I believe that's when he takes the pistol out and then hits her with it. And that's where we have the blood leaking. She's unconscious. The robber panics, removes the body. Now, I'm not sure if he dragged her out or if he carried her out. Did he have help? But the guy's 5'10", 210 pounds. Nancy is 150 pounds herself. So this could be tied into the ransom.
You're right,
notes,
ML.
possibly a robbery that went bad. You have 2 to 3 people
Hello.
that are involved. And one person wants to talk, but doesn't want to be the snitch. And this could be the ransom notes that are being sent to Harvey Levin at TMZ. I also think that those ransom notes could be bogus, and law enforcement and TMZ could be getting trolled by copycats and people that want to be famous in discords, because that's popular these days. Another theory that I have is Tommaso hired someone. From what I heard is Annie and Tommaso had bought a house about 6 months prior. Now those houses are $1 million homes. It costs a lot of money for a mortgage payment. Tommaso, I've also heard he possibly has a gambling habit, doesn't make a lot as a biology teacher. So my theory is he got into gambling debt with the mob, him being Italian, and they do a lot of gambling on soccer, on college basketball, everything, NFL, and he got into way too much debt, and they basically told him, if you don't pay this money that you owe us, it's on you. And he came up with this plan to get rid of Nancy and get the inheritance money. Here's what's crazy about this situation. The dog just passes away a few months ago. So that's going to cause no sound. If someone's trying to get into your house, the first thing that's going to wake you up is if you have an animal, you hear a sound or a dog barking, that's going to wake you up. And whoever did this knew that wasn't going to be waken up by anything and was quiet enough to get rid of her or get her out of that house.
So we see did he say grandson? Who was he blaming?
It's money. Here's what's crazy about this situation. To gambling debt with the hired someone. From what I heard is Annie and Tommaso had bought a house about 6 months prior. Now those houses are $1 million homes. It costs a lot of money for a mortgage payment. Tommaso, I've also heard he possibly has a gambling habit, doesn't make a lot as a biology teacher. So my theory is he got into gambling debt with the mob, him being Italian.
LM, I like your humor. Hello. Got my grandmother wanting security around the house. Hello. I know that's right. Got me thinking about my mom, ML. Morning, Darcy. Hello. Ransom notes are red herrings. Oh. One of her daughters lived 4 miles away. Sounds like this was planned. Son-in-law from Italy. Ooh.
And they do a lot of gambling on soccer, on college basketball, everything, NFL. And he got into way too much debt, and they basically told him, if you don't pay this money that you owe us, it's on you. And he came up with this plan to get rid of Nancy and get the inheritance money. Here's what's crazy about this situation. The dog just passes away a few months ago.
I agree, Darcy.
So that's going to cause no sound. If someone's trying to get into your house, the first thing that's going to wake you up is if you have an animal, you hear a sound or a dog barking, that's going to wake you up. And whoever did this knew that wasn't going to be waken up by anything and was quiet enough to get rid of her or get her out of that house. I've also heard that Annie and Tommaso had been asking Nancy for money recently, and Nancy cut them off. And that could have been because of Tommaso's gambling habit. A lot of people aren't good at this. Very few people make money off gambling. The only guy that I know who's made money off of it is a guy named Billy Walters. So Tommaso isn't sharp enough to realize that. Now, he is a biology teacher. And as this goes on, I'm beginning to think this theory is not possible. They would have found a connection to Tommaso and somebody that he hired. I had heard that they were going around questioning people in that neighborhood about Tommaso, and they had saw him on phones and known somebody that lives in the Catalina foothills. And I had asked them, what questions are law enforcement asking you guys? And they're basically asking them if they've seen Tommaso on phone, seen them talking to anyone, seen him bring anyone around that house. And those are the questions they're asking. They're not asking about anyone else besides Tommaso and Annie's relationship to Nancy. Now, the other theory that I have is that this could be cartel related, a kidnapping for ransom. This theory could be blown way out of proportion, being that the cartel deals in narcotics and makes millions of dollars off of that. This was a $6 million ransom, but the only thing that I could think of would be Savannah Guthrie had beef with the cartel. Maybe she did a story on them and hurt their look. And the Sinaloa cartel was out for her.
No, they're not coming after her for that.
3 to 4 man crew to the Catalina foothills and took Nancy into Mexico. And that's where you're seeing some of the ransom notes. But I don't think this theory is possible, being that the cartel really doesn't deal with coming into the United States and, taking Americans. They really will kidnap you while you're in Mexico.
That's right, Darcy.
So
that's
really
what he's assuming. That's what this gentleman, Chief High Smoke, that's his name, is alleging. Allegedly. Yep. Allegedly, Tommaso's alleged gambling addiction. He asked Nancy for some money. Nancy said, I'm not giving you any more money. And then it went from there. I believe they were having some money issues. That's what word on the curb was. Not just from this guy. That's right. That's exactly what happened.
This happening. I've heard some people say that this could be cartel related, but I just don't see it possible. I've seen really the first two theories being the best. The first one being the best. As this goes on, I can't see Tommaso being, arrested for this. They would have found something. They would have found something out by now about Tommaso getting rid of Nancy, and he's in the clear.
That doesn't mean that he is not a suspect. That just means that they haven't arrested him yet, and they don't have enough charges to charge him on, maybe. That's what I'm thinking. Where's the proof? Well, this is speculation, Darcy. This is all speculation and assumption. Allegedly.
And this law enforcement, the feds, they don't know what the hell's going on. This whole situation is messed up. And, I don't think they'll ever find Nancy because there is no leadership in law enforcement going on with this case. There are better theories going on with the people in YouTube chats than there are with law enforcement in Tucson right now.
It sounds like the law enforcement aren't really, they got federal agents on the ground, and then they got the local police. And I heard that the local police chief has only been, or not the chief, but the head investigator on the job. He's only been in his position for a couple of years. So Nancy want to know where the receipts are.
So my goal is to find Nancy, and I think that's what everybody's goal is. But I think with law enforcement, there's some other agendas going on, and we have to question that. Our tax dollars pay these guys to keep us safe, and that's priority to them. And if there's someone out there possibly going out there and kidnapping older people, they need to find this guy. So guys, if you can, go check out my buddy Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Daniel does highlights on the NFL, NBA, MLB, hockey, Olympics, wrestling, any sport, you name it, he's got the highlight. That's Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, Berri. Also go check out the Cavecast, a Chiefs content.
That was Chief High Smoke. I've never seen or heard from him before. This is my first time, but I like his commentary. I do believe that there is something, this was an inside job. If that were my mom, I'd have 24-hour nursing staff, beefed up, security, better surveillance cameras, paid security guards 24/7. I heard that when this is over, all of them are going to have security. They're going to keep security for the entire family. I don't know how Savannah's going to pay for all that, but she's changing how she does things, Darcy. You're absolutely right. Cherry, hello. Is it true Nancy was compliance officer for a pharmaceutical company? I'm not sure, Cherry. I am not sure. That could be true. I'll put a star by your name just in case. Nope, not a serial Randu kidnapping. This was a targeted disappearance. Yep, targeted. That's a good way to put it instead of accusing, because you don't want to. I know the police is not trying to accuse someone, but I'm sure they know by now, especially with the glove, who soon we'll hear them say we have a suspect in custody. That's going to be the break in the case, when they have a suspect in custody. But how do we know these suspects is going to cooperate and tell the truth and just lie? Anyway, guys, let me see. I got one more video for Nancy, and then we're going to move on to Barack Obama. You want the response of, we're going to watch the response. Remember when Donald Trump put Barack Obama as an ape and thought it was funny? Well, we're going to get his reaction from that.
Represents hope and support, and that's what this community is hoping to give to the Guthrie family. I spoke with a woman over the weekend. She says that her mom plays mahjong with Nancy Guthrie every week. She says this couldn't have happened to a nicer family, and her heart is broken. All of us still praying for the safe return of Nancy here.
And Savannah Guthrie herself saying that the family still has hope. Lee Waldman for us in Arizona. Thank you for all your reporting on this. Kate?
Joining us right now is CNN Chief Media Analyst Brian Stelter and former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis. Brian, just wanted to start with you as you continue to do reporting on how this is impacting Savannah and her family and everything you've heard. Tell us more about this new video that Savannah put out.
With this video, I thought this was the hardest one to watch yet. In some ways, the most personal, the most raw. And she continues to use her Instagram feed, signaling this is personal, right? Of course it is, but signaling that she's not there using the trappings of NBC, not using the trappings of the Today Show, not relying on the fancy cameras and studio lighting. She is just there as a daughter pleading for help. I noticed a column from Washington Post columnist Monica Hess last week about this, saying, what would it be like if your professional skills, your professional professional skills, in this case, Savannah's skills on TV, were suddenly required for the most crucial and terrifying personal matter. And that's exactly what we're seeing. She's having to communicate through the camera lens, trying to speak to these apparent abductors directly, telling them it's never too late to do the right thing. I found it even more heartbreaking than the earlier videos, Kate.
Yeah, and at investigators looking at where things stand right now, they're testing a glove that they say
interesting,
appears
Cherry.
to match what the suspect was wearing in the doorbell videos. Test results could come back today. Could a glove crack this case?
Absolutely, but some things have to line up first. The fact that they found a glove that
Savannah is too late to secure rest of family. She made $8 million USD last year. She said Savannah wasn't attentive to Nancy's obvious physical needs. What? Uh-oh, that's word on the curb from Darcy.
could break the case wide open.
And also, with that in mind,
so the glove evidence, the DNA evidence will blow this case wide open. So we know we're just Saturday they came up with the results. They're putting it in the database. I forgot the name of the database, but they're putting it in the database, and I think we should know something sooner rather than later. I think they're on the verge of breaking. What's that, Kara? Daddy? What's that in Kara's hand? Yeah, she's hiding it. It must be a nightmare for the family. It is. If it was my mother, I think I'd be pulling my hair out and ripping my skin off with the horror of not knowing. I would too, Maureen. I would probably be in a fetal position. Just sick. Just a sick. Just sick. I can't even imagine any of my loved ones missing or anything like that. It would just drive me nuts.
or city. What's going on here?
I've been noticing this as the days turn into weeks, this flock of true crime influencers. That is a real thing nowadays. And it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's just really complicated. You know, the influencer content we're seeing from Tucson is much more raw, much more personal, often much more speculative in nature than what you're seeing from traditional media. Some of these influencers cross lines that journalists are taught to avoid for legal and ethical reasons. Sometimes there's open speculation about possible suspects, people naming names without any evidence whatsoever. And I understand why this can be appealing to some viewers. The content feels more participatory than traditional news coverage. You feel like you might be involved in solving the crime.
Participatory. Now, can you imagine that we as citizens just are concerned about Nancy and trying to figure out what happened to her? I think it's safe to say that.
You're putting the clues or the pieces together. That can be a powerful feeling, but it might not be a reality-based feeling. I was speaking with someone involved in the investigation who told me, yeah, some of this chatter on social media has been downright unhelpful. But the person also said to me, quote, there's a recognition that the breakthrough tip could come from any.
So is our chatter affecting the investigation? How? We're just innocent bystanders just trying to figure out what happened to Nancy. And we have our theories. And it's okay to have theories. Theories help solve the case. Y'all take my comments with a grain of salt. We all saw Nancy home was isolated in the middle of the desert. wildlife, no neighbors nearby. You're right. She's like, me and my husband watched a movie last night. There was this house separated from everybody else. Like it was isolated. It was a beautiful home. But it was about a monkey that got rabies. And since the monkey, it was a pet, but he snapped. He went into snap mode and he got angry from the rabies. But the point is that they lived way out. See, not this way out. This is, you see her house right here? She does have a neighbor here and a neighbor here. She's not that isolated. Wow. Nobody saw nothing.
Anyone in the doorbell cam video from the night Nancy was abducted. Still, a source close to the investigation tells CNN that there is no leading theory behind what motivated Guthrie's disappearance. Investigators are examining all possibilities, including it was a burglary gone wrong or a targeted abduction. John?
All right, with us now, former FBI agent Brianna Fox. Brianna, thank you so much for being with us. Let's start with this glove, which is being tested right now. It's out for testing. The FBI says the glove they have does match the glove seen in this doorbell video by appearance. If it comes back and there is some kind of identifiable DNA on it, what then do they do?
Right. Well, I mean, this is also a huge thing. We all had the video. We've now found this glove, and there's potential DNA on it. So obviously, we don't have that direct link yet from this glove to the scene. So that's what investigators are going to do. They said that it appears to be a visual match, but they're going to have to confirm that if they're going to get an arrest warrant and take this case to trial. Additionally, they're going to want to search their CODIS.
Take the case to trial. We're trying to find Nancy, girlfriend. Where's Nancy? Before this lady's already talking about going to trial. We got to find Nancy first. Crazy.
This message, it's never too
We
late.
have to find Nancy first.
Who do you think that's directed to? Why that choice of words? Why this messaging now?
I have been so moved by all of Savannah's posts, and in particular this one. I thought that the call to empathy that she has, we do this a lot in interviews and interrogations. You could be so angry.
Debbie said the ones that are on the ground, evidence and facts solve a case. Of course, there are a bunch of internet sloths on the ground mocking about, and those are the ones who could potentially muddle an investigation. Well, that's why it's good not to inform the public about every little detail. Like, we know about the glove, we know about the DNA, but we don't know who's attached to that glove. But I'm sure the police know already. They just haven't told us. Yeah, that's what she said. She said that once they find out who the glove belongs to, they can get a search warrant. And then after the search warrant, that'll determine if they go to trial or not, which I thought was too soon. Trial's too soon.
Is leading them. They just have not notified the public of that yet.
Still been a day or two since we've seen any activity like this. We will see if it picks up again today. Brianna Fox, thank you very much. This morning, a new message from Savannah Guthrie as the search for her missing 84-year-old mother, Nancy, stretches into a third week.
And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is that it's never too late.
It's never too late.
And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing.
It's never too late, she said. This new plea comes as investigators anticipate the final test results from DNA on a glove found about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's Arizona home, which the FBI says appears to visually match the ones worn by the suspect seen
Visually
in the
match.
doorbell cam.
They visually match, meaning they look the same. Same glove as that appears in this video is the same glove they have in custody. That makes sense.
Video, but a source close to the investigation stresses there are still no leading theories as to why Guthrie may have been taken. Let's get right to CNN's Lee Waldman live on the
For
scene
money.
this morning with the latest. Good morning, Lee.
They took her for money.
Good morning, John. That video of Savannah, the latest plea from her for any answers on her mother's safe return, you can just see the desperation at this point as we're 16 days out since her mother was apparently abducted.
Savannah
from
looked
her
like
home
she
here.
hasn't
That
had
glove
any
that
sleep in a month. Demon Dictator says she's aged like 10 years. She looks so distraught, worried, and stressed out, physically, mentally, emotionally. I'm sure she is having a very difficult time with this. You can tell by the way she looks that she is not doing well.
Theory as to what happened here. Was it a targeted kidnapping because of who Nancy Guthrie's daughter is? Was this a burglary gone wrong? We can't really eliminate any of those theories at this point. So many questions lingering over here, but let's run us through what we do know. We know from the doorbell camera video and pictures that were released, it was an armed and masked man who came to Nancy Guthrie's door. The FBI saying they have a preliminary profile of who that person is. That's a man with a medium build, between 5'9" and 5'10". Neighbors in this area are still being asked to go through their surveillance video and submit anything that they have between January 1st and February 2nd in a 2-mile radius here. Anything that could be deemed suspicious, suspicious person, that suspicious vehicle. All of this trying to see if someone was casing this home or stopped by after this kidnapping happened. A lot of unanswered questions here, and the neighbors in this community, they're feeling it, wanting more information, not only from the sheriff but also from the FBI, and they're pleading with the abductors as well. Return their neighbor back safely. John, you can see behind me this growing tribute filled with beautiful yellow flowers. We spoke to the flower shop owner. He tells us the yellow represents hope and support, and that's what this community is hoping to give to the Guthrie family. I spoke with a woman over the weekend. She says that her mom plays mahjong with Nancy Guthrie every week. She says this couldn't have happened to a nicer family, and her heart is broken. All of us still praying for the safe return of Nancy here.
And Savannah Guthrie herself saying that the family still has hope. Lee Waldman for us in Arizona. Thank you for all your reporting on this. Kate?
Joining us right now is CNN Chief Media Analyst Brian Stelter and former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis. Brian, just wanted to start with you as you continue to do reporting on how this is impacting Savannah and her family and everything you've heard. Tell us more about this new video that Savannah put out.
This video, I thought this was the hardest one to watch yet. It's
Yeah.
always the most personal, the most raw. And she continues to use her Instagram feed, signaling this is personal, right? Of course it is, but signaling that she's not there using the trappings of NBC, not using the trappings of the Today Show, not relying on the fancy cameras and studio lighting. She is just there as a daughter pleading for help. I noticed a column from Washington Post columnist Monica Hess last week about this, saying, what would it be like if your professional skills, in this case, Savannah's skills on TV, were suddenly required for the most crucial and terrifying personal matter? And that's exactly what we're seeing. She's having to communicate through the camera lens, trying to speak to these apparent abductors directly, telling them it's never too late to do the right thing. I found it even more heartbreaking than the earlier videos, Kate.
Yeah, and investigators looking at
It's
where
not too
things
late
stand
to
right
do the
now.
right thing.
They're testing a glove that they say appears to match what the suspect was wearing in the doorbell videos. Test results could come back today. Could a glove crack this case?
I don't think it was a
Absolutely.
robbery.
But
Robbery
some
gone
things have to
wrong.
line up first. The fact that they found a glove that's similar to the
Burglary
glove in the
gone wrong.
photo doesn't
No.
necessarily make it the right one. And it's quite common to find DNA.
It is going wrong. Whatever they did with her, it's going wrong. It's not going well. Because we wonder if she's okay because she doesn't have her medicine. I'm not buying it. It wasn't a burglary gone wrong. And then what? Out of all the homes, they picked her. It's just weird. It doesn't make sense. She's out in Tucson in a neighborhood that is off the beaten path. They just happened to come to Nancy's house. Rockadoo.
Didn't make any sense. Your motivation is money. You don't go to a TV station and demand money. If your motivation is some type of an attack on the family, then the high profile nature of this is actually detrimental to your twisted goals. So I think that's why they're having trouble finding a motive here. And it may be that we're not going to get a motive until we find who was responsible for it, if ever.
Brian, another thing that's happening now are these self-described internet sleuths and true crime streamers. They're showing up in droves, apparently, in Arizona. And now local leaders are saying that they're speaking out, saying they're doing more harm than good. One state representative just had posted, even on X, please go home, let law enforcement do their job, stop following them during SWAT operations and playing detectives. I am sick of the constant lies from those who can't even spell Tucson and clearly have never been to our city. What's going on here?
I've been noticing this as the days turn into weeks, this flock of true crime influencers. That is a real thing nowadays. And it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's just really complicated. You know, the influencer content we're seeing from Tucson is much more raw, much more personal, often much more speculative in nature than what you're seeing from traditional media. Some of these influencers cross lines that journalists are taught to avoid for legal and ethical reasons. Sometimes there's open speculation about possible suspects, people naming names without any evidence whatsoever. And I understand why this can be appealing to some viewers. The content feels more participatory than traditional news coverage. You feel like you might be involved in solving the crime. You're putting the clues or the pieces together. That can be a powerful feeling, but it might not be a reality-based feeling. I was speaking with someone involved in the investigation.
I think they're on repeat.
Some of this chatter on social media has been downright unhelpful. But the person also said to me, quote, there's a recognition that the breakthrough tip could come from anyone, from anywhere. So there's acknowledgement here that this is mostly happening in good faith. People want to help. It creates the illusion of participation. But there are definitely times when these TikTokers, these Instagrammers, these YouTubers, they have...
All right, guys, we're going to move on. Okay. We're going to move on to Obama and continue to pray and hope that she's okay, Nancy Guthrie. And I want to thank Cece for this I believe it was Cece. I don't think it was Lisa. I want to thank Cece for giving me this clip of Obama coming out talking about his experience with Donald Trump and him calling him an ape and just his thoughts on it. I agree with you, Marine, 100% on that. If it was a burglary and they accidentally unalived her, they wouldn't have taken her body. Yeah, for what? I saw Nancy's home last night. It's pitch dark out there. What random stranger could navigate the rugged terrain at night? First of all, Darcy, I don't think she should, like you said when you came in to talk to us today, that she should be living out there all alone with no security anyway. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more security. She just felt like she's out there all alone. Doesn't it seem that way, guys? Okay, so let's see what Barack Obama has to say about Donald Trump.
It is my honor to be joined by the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama. Mr. President, thanks so much for joining me.
It is wonderful to be here, Brian. Thank you for having me.
So as you know better than anybody, the discourse has devolved into a level of cruelty that we haven't seen before. What was disqualifying just a few years ago now not only feels fine, acceptable, but actually rewarded. You have administration officials saying that the victims of ISIS aggression are domestic terrorists. You have J.D. Vance coming out and saying that it's okay. You don't have to apologize for being white. Just days ago, Donald Trump put a picture of your face on an ape's body. And so again, this is kind of, we've seen the de-evolution of the discourse. How do we come back from the place that we have fallen into?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to recognize that the majority of the American people find this behavior deeply troubling. It is true that it gets attention. It's true that it's a distraction. But, as I'm traveling around the country, as you're traveling around the country, you meet people. They still believe in decency, courtesy, kindness, and there's this sort of clown show that's happening in social media and on television, and what is true is that there doesn't seem to be any shame about this among people who used to feel like you had to have some sort of decorum and a sense of propriety.
Get out of there, you little sneaker toad.
And respect for the office, right? So that's been lost. But the reason I point out that I don't think the majority of the American people approve of this is because ultimately the answer is going to come from the American people. And we just saw this in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. It is important for us to recognize the unprecedented nature of what ICE was doing in Minneapolis, St. Paul, the way that federal agents, ICE agents, were being deployed without any clear guidelines, training, pulling people off, out of their homes, using 5-year-olds to try to
bait their parents.
Yeah. All the stuff that we saw, tear gassing crowds simply who were standing there, not breaking any laws. So the rogue behavior of agents of the federal government is deeply concerning, and dangerous. But we should take a moment to appreciate the extraordinary outpouring of organizing, community building, decency, neighbors buying groceries for folks, accompanying children to school, teachers who were standing up for their kids, not just randomly, but in a systematic, organized way, citizens saying, this is not the America we believe in, and we're going to fight back, and we're going to push back with the truth, and with cameras, and with peaceful protests, and shining a light on the sort of behavior that in the past we've seen in authoritarian countries, and we've seen in dictatorships, but we have not seen in America. And that kind of heroic, sustained behavior in sub-zero weather by ordinary people is what should give us hope. And it should remind us that at the end of the day, the way we get a democracy that's working, the way we get policies that actually are helping working families get ahead, the way that we restore norms, rule of law, decency, it's going to be because we citizens are activated and paying attention and saying enough and saying, we have a different idea of what the American family should look like and community should look like. And that is what I'm seeing across the board. So, I was on a panel a while back, and I said, a lot of the values that we say we subscribe to during easy times, during peaceful times, it's easy to say we believe in those things.
Right, when they're not challenged.
When they're not challenged. It's easy to believe in free speech when it doesn't seem like the government's trying to crack down on free speech. It's easy to say that we believe in the golden rule when we aren't at risk of being arrested when we exercise the golden rule.
Yeah.
Right now we're being tested, and the good news is what we saw in Minneapolis and St. Paul, and what we're seeing in places across the country, including here in Los Angeles, has been the American people saying, no, you know what, at least a good number of the American people saying, we're going to live up to those values that we say we believe in. And as long as we have folks doing that, I feel like we're going to get through this.
So I hear and appreciate what you're saying about the agency of individuals. As we look toward our elected officials or Democratic leaders, I think something that I've been having a lot of trouble reconciling is for so long, it's felt like Democrats are solely focused on protecting norms, institutions, processes, and then you've got a Republican Party that sees what it wants and will find a way to get it. Laws be damned, Constitution be damned, rules be damned.
Don't play
and we're seeing that play out right now. And so, given this massive asymmetry, where it often leaves us feeling like it's a Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown over and over and over again situation, what needs to be done? And do you think that our Democratic leadership and our Democratic elected officials understand that for the first time?
Well, look, I think we have to acknowledge that we've got the harder job, right? So we believe in government as a tool for good, as a potential force to create more jobs, and as a way to make sure that the planet doesn't roast, to make sure that as we move forward and the economy grows, that everybody and not just some are benefiting, and that kids are getting a good education. And what that means is that we have to think about the consequences of our
Yes.
actions. We have to try to figure out how do we get working majorities to actually pass laws and to implement those laws and to make things happen. Tearing stuff down doesn't require all that. So when you talk about Republicans, for example, it seems like they see what they want and they just go after it. Well, they've passed one significant piece of legislation since they've been, for all the hoopla, they haven't actually codified and institutionalized much of anything. They have poured a huge amount of money into ICE and their immigration agenda. And they've cut taxes for really wealthy people. And now they're trying to unravel a bunch of rules and norms and laws that are already in place. That's an easier job. So I say that because we should accept the responsibility and the challenge that our job is going to be a little bit harder. Because in order for us to get stuff done, like let's say the Affordable Care Act, well, we've got to cobble together a majority. And we've got to persuade and we've got to convince. And so I do think that there's been some unwillingness on the part of Democrats in the past to break down some of the institutional barriers for us getting stuff done, just because, well, it's always been done that way. And I'll give you an example that frustrated the heck out of me when I was president, which was the filibuster in the Senate. The Senate is already structurally skewed and anti-majoritarian, right? It's hard for majorities to get stuff done, whether it's trying to pass civil rights legislation in the 60s or trying to get gun control legislation or what have you, because even though majority of people support it, Delaware and Wyoming have the same number of senators as California.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So that would require a constitutional amendment. You then compound that with a filibuster. And the truth is that Democrats for some time have been traditionalists in wanting to preserve that, when it blocks us from making government effective, which in turn makes people feel like government is corrupt and not caring about them.
Which lends itself
to the kind of, it gives folks like Trump an opening.
Yeah.
Right. So redistricting is another good example of where I strongly believe we should not be having politicians draw lines that determine who's voting for them. We should have voters decide who their politicians are. And, I worked with Eric Holder to help set up the terrific work that the NDRC has been doing to try to make sure that we have fair maps. But the fact that Governor Newsom here in California and others said, well, if they're going to try to gerrymander their way out of losing this upcoming midterm, then we're going to respond. And we're going to respond in a lawful way where we put it up to a referendum and let people decide and not just give away the store because of traditions. That was the right response. So I do think that I don't want us to simply duplicate the behavior of the other side. I don't want us to have a slash and burn strategy where we don't care about rule of law. We don't care about some of the guardrails around our democracy. We start lying and having no regard for the truth the way the other side seems to be comfortable with right now. Because if that's how we fight, then we lose what we're fighting for. But that doesn't mean we have to get punked or be saps. And I do, or to cling to traditions just for the sake of tradition. I think what we have to continually evaluate is, in this moment in time, how do we make sure that we can advance our agenda in a way that reflects what's good for ordinary folks, not special interests, not simply the well-to-do, and how do we do that in a way that's consistent with integrity, honesty, democracy, the values that we claim to want to uphold? And I think it's possible to do that. But the reason I started with reminding ourselves, yes, we have a harder job, because sometimes I think we're tough on Democrats, saying, why aren't you being as mean, tough, and nasty as they are? Well, it's when I was president of the United States, I suppose I could have simply unilaterally ordered the military to go into some red state and harass and intimidate a governor there, or cut off funding for states that didn't vote for me.
I don't
can
agree with
exercise
you,
that
Jew.
but that is contrary to how I think our democracy is supposed to work. And I think we shouldn't get discouraged.
He's always the
by
same.
the fact that we have a tougher job.
Obama
What we should
doesn't
do is
change.
expect that
He didn't change when you voted for
our side
him. He was that same
is
person.
smart enough to figure it out.
So you had mentioned persuasion, and I think that that's a really good point here, because as we eventually head toward a next general election cycle, we're going to be contending with a lot of the same infighting that's plagued Democrats before. You'll often have leftists and progressives butting up against liberals and moderates. And look, you are the ultimate pragmatist. And so what advice do you have as we head toward this election cycle, this eventual 2028 election cycle, so that we don't devolve into the same, 2016 era Bernie Hillary redux that feels like it always consumes the left?
Well, look, first of all, I think it's important to remember that the divisions in the Democratic Party tend to get magnified in the media. Relative to the divides that exist in most other countries, where you have a parliamentary system, you have multiple parties, and you got a Green Party, and you got the center left party, and you've got a socialist party, and sometimes you got a communist party. Yeah. Our differences get exaggerated. Listen, Bernie Sanders believes, just like Nancy Pelosi believes, just like Chuck Schumer believes, just like Hakeem Jeffries believes, just like AOC believes, in equality and non-discrimination against people because of race or gender or sexual orientation. Well, all Democrats believe in that. That's a core value. Democrats believe that government should provide a strong safety net for people when they're down on their luck.
Yep.
Everybody I just mentioned believes in that. Everybody believes that there should be some regulation of the market so that you don't have monopolies and oligopolies that are simply dictating the terms of the economy, and that we should have a tax system that levels out some of the inequalities that result. So I think it's important for us to remind ourselves as a starting point, what do we have in common? Most of the time, the differences are tactical. Right? It has to do with, well, how much
I like
of
him.
a tax hike can people put up with?
I
How
think we're just
much
going to
regulation
listen to half of it.
should we be thinking about when it comes to
Goes
climate
on
change?
and
And if we recognize that typically the arguments in the Democratic Party aren't about core values, but are really around tactics and how do you get stuff done.
Meghan
Now
Shines,
we can
is
have a
Meghan
robust
Shines
debate, and I want a
attorney?
robust debate.
Yeah.
And what we can also do is not try to nationalize every issue all the time. Right?
Put a 1 in the chat if you want to continue to hear about Obama and what's going on and his thoughts about what's going on in our economy today, or put a 2 in the chat if you want to move on to Meghan.
This last off-year election, I think, was a great example. You've got
I
a
do
candidate
like
like
Obama.
Spanberger in Virginia,
I
who
think
runs
he's
what
a
would be
great,
considered a more
intelligent
centrist
man,
campaign,
and I think
and runs a terrific
great
campaign.
president.
And then you've got Mondami in New York, who runs a explicitly socialist grassroots campaign and excites and mobilizes folks. And that can win in New York City. It probably could not win in Virginia. And that's okay. That's healthy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I
Okay,
think
got one,
we
too.
get into arguments. A recent one, this idea that the quote unquote abundance agenda is somehow a sellout, and folks on the left getting exercised because, this is part of this sort of corporate Democrats trying to take over the party. Well, no, not really. What I think it is entirely legitimate to say, for example, we need to build more affordable housing, which is going to require higher taxes on people like me and people who are well off in order to subsidize the construction of affordable housing, let's say in a place like California, and also be able to say,
It is,
you know what?
CC.
There are a bunch of well-intentioned rules and zoning laws and so forth that baby boomers like me and existing homeowners have used to block the construction of affordable housing, even in democratic cities. And so if we want to actually deliver housing rather than have some abstract argument, then we got to figure out not an either or, do we spend more money or do we reform some of these things that are preventing the construction of affordable housing, we have to do both. And I want us to have those arguments. And one last thing I think that's I've noticed in a lot of our internal arguments, a lot of which, by the way, are taking place online, and ordinary voters, this is all completely off their radar screen. One of the things I think it's important for Democrats,
All right,
for
guys,
us
in
also
10
to
minutes,
recognize,
we'll move
progressives
on.
to recognize, folks
We
on the
need
left
10
to
more
recognize.
minutes with Obama.
It's possible for us to have a moral sense of what is right and true and what needs to be done, and also recognize that we are in a particular time and place here in America, and voters are not going to agree with us 100% on everything. And so it is not a sellout, it's not a betrayal to say that we're going to shape our agenda and our message in a way that allows us to build a working majority to get stuff done. And I think particularly around social issues, sometimes we get confused around this. You witness what happened in Minneapolis, and you say to yourself, morally speaking, that 5-year-old child who's standing in front of that SUV as his father's being dragged off, that child is equal to mine or any child. His immigration status, his nationality does not change the love and decency that we should be showing that child. But what is also true is that we're a nation of laws, we have borders, and we've got to figure out an immigration policy that is orderly and that is fair and is enforced in a sensible way that is compatible with our values, but may not fully capture the degree to which that kid should have the same chances in life as a U.S. citizen kid. But we've got to accommodate the reality that the majority of the American people think that there's a difference between somebody who's a U.S. citizen and somebody who's not, and that they want an orderly immigration system. And sometimes I think what happens in the online debate is if somebody suggests, well, we have to have some immigration enforcement, then somebody's going to point at that child and say, well, so you don't care about that kid, so you must be a bad person. The same would be true, let's say, here in Los Angeles around the homeless issue. I think morally, ethically speaking, it is an atrocity that in a country this wealthy, we have people just on the streets. And we should have we should insist on policies that recognize their full humanity, people who are houseless, and be able to provide them the help and resources that they need. But we should also recognize that the average person, doesn't want to have to navigate around a tent city in the middle of downtown, and that we're not going to be able to build a working majority and support for the resources that we need to help folks like that, whether it's drug treatment or temporary housing or what have you. We're not going to be able to generate support for it if we simply say, you know what, it's not their fault, and so they should be able to do whatever they want, because that's a losing political strategy. That doesn't mean that
yes, he does.
We care less about those folks. It means if we really care about them, then we got to try to figure out how do we gain majority support and be practical in terms of what we can get through at this moment in time and build on those
Brian.
victories. That a lot of times is the arguments that are taking place, but they become sort of performative, and people start saying, oh, you're selling out, or conversely, I think sometimes folks at the center say, you're being impractical and dismissing legitimate critiques and concerns. And then what we need to be able to do is to maintain both ideas at the same time, which is our long-term goals have to be driven by our values and our core beliefs and our ethics and our morals, in the sense that every person counts. And short-term, we got to win elections. Right. And anyway, the good news is, I think that the folks that we are fighting politically, the current White House, this administration, and their enablers, they're behaving so badly, they're doing such crazy stuff, that it shouldn't be hard for our side to coalesce around the areas where we agree on and focus on that. And I think that that is going to happen if we are effective in winning the midterms.
We're not doing the best job.
If we then have a robust,
I'm just going to be honest, this administration current administration is not doing a good job, especially with the ICE situation, the Venezuelan president, the taking of the food stamps, the Meals on Wheels program, the medical, like, it's not the best economy right now.
Primary for who's going to be the next Democratic president. We shouldn't be afraid of having a robust debate. I want all comers to sort this out. I benefited from having about as grueling a primary as I could have. It made me a better candidate. It ultimately made me a better president because I had been tested. My ideas had been tested. The story I was telling about America had been tested. And that's what we should be looking for, rather than expecting that somehow we're going to all come up with some consensus blueprint master plan that everybody's going to execute. Democrats aren't good at doing that anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think, one block of voters who I think there has been particular focus paid to right now is young voters. And, you were able to mobilize a generation of young voters in a way that hadn't been done before. I got involved in politics because of you. And in fact, a lot of millennials, folks my age, got involved in politics because of you. Like when I was a student, you could not find any other students on campus who were not supporting your campaign. Democrats and you had owned the cultural zeitgeist in a way that hadn't been done before, and frankly hasn't been done since. And we've seen a shift happen, obviously, from 2008, 2012 up to 2024.
Right.
And for the first time, we saw Democrats really lose their grip on culture in a way that hadn't happened before. And so what is your advice in terms of remobilizing a generation of Americans that we've had trouble mobilizing up to this point?
Well, look, part of it has to do with the fact that I was young.
Yeah. So maybe don't nominate octogenarians?
Well, look, I'm 64 now. I'm pretty healthy, 64, feel great.
Yeah.
But the truth is, half of the references that my daughters make about social media, TikTok, etc., I don't know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
There is a element of, at some point, you age out. You're not connected directly to the immediate struggles that folks are going through. And so I'm not making a hard and fast rule here, but I do think that Democrats do well when we have candidates who are plugged into the moment, to the zeitgeist, to the times, and the particular struggles that folks are thinking about as they look towards the future rather than look backward toward the past. And so some of it is choosing candidates who check that box. I do think that there is an element of joy that needs to.
Don't forget to hype
Democrats
the video,
lost
guys. Hype
sometimes.
Our
campaign was
hit
fun.
The subscribe button.
We had some, look, it wasn't always fun for me, but we built a community. We gave people a sense that if you are part of this, you're doing something meaningful, and it wasn't just talk. Young people ran our campaigns. We empowered them. We put them in charge. They were out there figuring stuff out. I'm not the person who was figuring out our media strategy. I was not the person who was out there, knocking on doors and talking to voters and creating events. It was 20 and 30-year-olds. And so what happened in our campaign, and what you recently saw in Mondami's campaign in New York, when there's that sense of joy and engagement and involvement, then people feel like, all right, this is not just.
He's calm, he's collected, he's clear, he's not all over the place, he's not trashing anyone, he's not talking negative about the Republicans or Trump. He is just being a pure gentleman. It really is, he's presidential. Something that we don't have with this current administration.
Some transactional grind. This is me becoming part of a community and joining with others. And I think young people respond to that. And then a corollary to that is I do think that culturally, and I've talked about this before, we did turn off. I think there was a certain way of talking about issues for Democrats where we sounded like scolds. And I've said this before. there was a virtue signaling that made it seem as if ordinary folks, if they did not say things in exactly the right way or meet this litmus test, that they were being chastised, pushed away. And the truth is, most of us, all of us, are complicated, and we have blind spots, and sometimes we say dumb stuff. And if you want to create an environment that is welcoming and makes people feel, okay, there's room for me here, then the message and the story we tell has to be, all right, none of us are perfect. All of us count. We all have good in us that we can tap into. We can all learn from each other. And I think that is something we need to recover. That's part of the fun of politics. That's part of the community and the social bonding that can come about. And we saw that in Minneapolis. I mean, somebody showed me a friend of mine, Michelle Norris, is from Minnesota, and she was up there, and she was going around talking to neighbors and people she had known for a long time as they were mobilizing protests and activities around ICE. And she showed me a clip of this street band that was performing every night after all these activities had been taking place and protests, etc. And they were just out there and they were playing music, and I'm trying to figure out how they were playing, horns and drums, etc. in like 0-degree weather, because I would not have been able to put my lips on a trumpet. And people were celebrating what they had accomplished. And it was an embodiment of the values that make us care about other people. And that, I think, is a spirit that when Democrats tap into that spirit, then we win. The other side does the mean, angry,
demagoguery,
exclusive, us, them, divisive politics. That's their home court.
Yeah.
Our court is coming together.
Coming together.
Look, a great example. Wasn't political. Bad Bunny's hat.
Coming together.
Well,
that's what we're about.
It resonated. It was smart because it wasn't preaching. It was showing. It was demonstrating and displaying. This is what a community is. And people who did not speak Spanish and have never been to Puerto Rico, they saw that elderly woman serving a drink and the kids dancing with their grandmas, and it was intergenerational, and it was a reminder of what Dr. King called the beloved community can look like, which is not perfect, and it's messy sometimes. And I guarantee you, not all those lyrics were probably politically correct. And if you translated them, and they're people are complicated, but there was a sense of, all right, there's room for everybody here.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is where we win.
Your presidential center is opening up.
All right, guys, we got close to the end. Let's give Barack Obama a break. Thank you, Barack Obama and Brian, for your commentary. Now, let's move on to Meghan. And I agree with him. When we come together, we accomplish a lot. Let's see here.
Why doesn't he go with her to Los Angeles?
Oh, let me show you this real quick. This is Anna Nicole's daughter.
I feel like you guys are Derby royalty at
Isn't
this
she
point.
beautiful?
Tell me why the Barnstable party is the best of the best.
Well, for me,
It's Anna Nicole's daughter, looking just like Anna Nicole. Bless her.
I started out working here as a photographer and a reporter, and had so many memories. And obviously, one of the most special memories is meeting her mom here. 20 something plus years ago, and Danny Lynn is actually wearing the dress that her mom wore to this event 21 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it's a special thing for me because just to see her, and have it be a full circle moment for me is special. And the fact that I spent all the money storing all these things for years and that she's actually now grown into them and been able to wear them is a cool thing. So it's a special moment.
It's so special.
So he said he stored all her mother's clothes and spent money on doing that. And now she's able to wear her mother's clothes. Isn't that nice? She's just like her mother.
And you look so, so beautiful. Tell me how you feel in this outfit.
I feel good in it. Once again, try not to cry when I say this, but I can't know my mom, sadly, and this is one of the only reasons and ways I can. And this is the closest I'll ever be getting to a hug from her. So I've been like on and off tears the whole day.
This is such a special moment, and seriously, she would be so proud of you. Seriously, just your smile, your lightness.
Thank you.
Well, the dress is 21, but that doesn't mean you can drink because you're not 21. So she's only 18, almost 19. So I told her, just because the dress is old doesn't mean you're going to start whooping it up in there.
I also love that you kept so many of her outfits. Why did you decide to do that?
So, for me, each outfit and each thing holds a story, and a memory. So for me, I think that it's a way to tell a story and let Anna's things tell through her appreciation for them now. And it's funny because if she wore one dress every day for the rest of her life, she still would not run out of clothes because we have multiple storage bins. And Anna was a hoarder, and and I used to fault her for that. And after she passed, trying to do all the work, and I was like, there's so much stuff, but it was so much rewarding just to see her enjoy just this one special dress even.
So special, and obviously so many fans think you look just like your mother. Do you see the resemblance?
Yeah, so I'm an artist, and for Christmas, I believe I drew my mom for him as a little present. And when I was drawing the eyebrows on her, I was like, those are the same as mine. So yeah, I do see it sometimes, especially with what I drew. I was like, whoa.
That must have been a really special present.
Always, she surprises me with things, and she's really creative, and just see her grow in so many ways, because a lot of people want to compare her to her mom, but she's so individually and unique and her own person. And there's obviously there's similarities. A lot of people think she looks like me when she's not wearing makeup and her sweats or whatever, and then she's glammed up and it looks like her mom. It's actually an internet debate. You can pull a poll on it, but yeah, she's amazing, and she's we're off to new things, and she's starting college soon.
Oh,
so exciting. Are you so excited for that?
I am. I'm nervous, but I'm really excited.
It's okay to be nervous. I feel like I was so nervous that you're going to do amazing. Are you studying art?
I'm actually thinking.
Thank you, Cece, for letting us watch it. For giving it to me.
Well, you guys are going to have such an amazing week. It's such
She's
a special
adorable.
Week.
You got to do a turn for the camera.
Oh my gosh, you got to do a turn. Do we know the designer of the dress? Do we remember?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And honestly, like I know everybody used to ask Anna that, but for me, it's like it doesn't really matter just because it's such a special dress. It used to be in the Derby Museum here as an exhibit, and so ever since then, it's been tucked away in a box, and here we are.
I'm not sure, Payne.
What are you guys looking forward to?
I'm not sure.
Because you guys come every single year. I know this is a really special one, but
well, honestly,
I like Anna Nicole.
Just kind of hanging out and seeing old friends and that we've met over the years, and just having a good time. I don't really bet. I keep the money because she spends a lot of money, so
I'm
like
sure
her mom in that
she's about to go to college.
For me, it's
which is really
just
good.
about just having fun and seeing old friends.
She does look very sweet.
What's your favorite part?
I like the food here and the desserts. But for a serious answer, I just like coming back and seeing my friends and family because I haven't really seen them in a while. So I'm happy to catch up.
And having a daddy-daughter moment. This is really, really a special time.
Well, I mean, this I keep saying every year is our last. I mean, what started out as basically the first time she ever came, she was so small that she was just learning to walk, and then I carried her. She fell asleep with a bottle in her hand. Here she is wearing her mom's dress. So it's just kind of like a moment that you cherish. You look up and time's flown, but literally this event this weekend, you actually can do a growth chart just based on seeing her. This is the first only event that we go to a year, and so that was kind of by design for privacy and security. And I brought her back here to be kind of a normal kid, to raise her in Kentucky. And so now I think that, I've gotten her to the finish line, so to speak, and hopefully, she has a good foundation to go on and do great things.
All right. That was so beautiful. Yeah. You hungry? Okay, well, you wanna what do you want to eat, sweetheart? Yeah, we're finna get ready to go. All right, guys, I want to know. Okay, what time is it? 2:00. Let's move on to. Carol, don't do that. Let's see. I want to play this real quick.
According to Taz, will you be my Valentine today?
Absolutely, Dan, always.
Let's not tell the husband, let's not tell the fiance. But look, Tash, I thought because it is Valentine's Day, and actually there's been so much horror and so much scandal all week long, and a lot of people really depressed
He's
actually
always
because we love the British royal family. We want them to survive. And one of the
agree
things
with
that is
you.
most important with royals, of course, is the strength of
Relationship. How was Meghan and Harry's relationship? Is that doing anything? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it a match made in heaven? I agree with you, HM Hug. So good that he always has been there for his daughter. He's always been there for his daughter. Which it looks so good. It really does. Once upon a time, decades ago, I could have worn that dress and look good. Wow. Now I'm like a piece of roadkill. Marine, not roadkill. Me too. At one particular time, I could probably have wore that dress as well.
relationships. When you look at this juxtaposition, actually, what we see, and obviously we'll go along with all of the couples as we go, but what we see is genuine love versus performative love. So, Tash, let's kick off with the miserable duo in Montecito, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who this Valentine's Day you have awarded just half a rose. So even though Harry declared, "I love you," in that very awkward video where he's now merching "was never white chocolate," which isn't selling, you're not convinced that all is rosy this Valentine's Day for Prince Harry and the fake Duchess. Why? What do you think's really going on?
I just think their relationship is performative. She can never, ever say that she loves him back. It's always, that man loves me so much. That man adores me so much. But you never, ever hear Meghan say, "Oh, I love you too." He does look miserable, doesn't he? He does look unhappy. I mean, that video was ultimate cringe level. That was 10 out of 10. You know, the way he's holding up the chocolate bar and making sure that it's facing the right way for the camera, like he's an Instagrammer. It really, really was the ultimate cringeworthy. But you could tell he almost looks nervous when Meghan approaches, because I can imagine he's walking on a tightrope every day. You just never know which way it's going to go. She must be an absolute nightmare to live with. There's so many stories about how she can flip and how she can be, you know, really, really taxing. And if things don't go her way, she becomes
Hello. I had it on mute. Anyway, I truly believe that Meghan and Harry are not in this blissful love affair. I don't see it. I feel like it's fake. I feel like she is, like Taz said, controlling, spazzed out, mean. What's with the scissors? I think they can't stand to be in the same country, let alone the same room. I know. Word on the curb is that their relationship is not the best. She tries to portray it being like this big, wonderful love affair, but it's not.
Becomes a nightmare. And these are just former staff, so I can't imagine what it would be like being married to her.
I mean, she is an emotionally abusive woman. She is a bullying woman. I have no issue with saying that now. So even though Harry has been such a monster himself, if he is being subjected to some form of emotional abuse, domestic abuse, marital abuse, should there be sympathy for him? He might be trapped, Tash.
All right. Really quick.
Finest royal experts, live from the United States, Kinsey Schofield, star of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered. Kinsey, welcome to the show.
I mean, when are these headlines going to end, Mark Dolan? Just when you think things are slowing down, it feels like they ramp right back up.
Well, that's right. And the country's chief prosecutor has said no one is above the law, including Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, partly because he's had his royal titles taken. He's no longer Prince Andrew.
Well, for years, Andrew's Epstein ties were mostly a matter of public scrutiny. I mean, we have said, the two of us together, you are who you associate with. And that was enough for us. But now those connections are going to be under formal investigations. Authorities are examining whether his meetings and communications with Jeffrey Epstein could amount to misconduct while acting in an official capacity for the government. If evidence supports it, this could move beyond mere scandal into a criminal inquiry, a serious step for a senior royal and a significant moment for the monarchy.
Well, that's right. There are so many elements to this, aren't there, Kinsey? There are the sexual allegations, the idea that young women were trafficked to the United Kingdom by Epstein for the pleasure of Andrew, allegations that things may have happened on royal turf, including at Buckingham Palace, potentially while Queen Elizabeth was in Balmoral, allegations which Andrew denies, but damaging allegations nonetheless. So you've got that side of it. Then you've got the financial impropriety. And then you have the small matter of national security and the idea that Andrew may be guilty of misconduct in public office, sharing commercially and national insurance-ly sensitive documents abroad.
Well, there's a newly released dossier, and I mean, does it ever end? But it paints a more troubling picture of Andrew's relationship with Epstein, because these emails, they suggest that Andrew allowed Epstein to help arrange meetings during an official trade trip to China. And photos of this trip show Andrew socializing with a Chinese model on that same 2010 visit. So, I think it's fair to assume that perhaps Jeffrey Epstein made an introduction there. The documents also claim that earlier in the year, Andrew shared a confidential treasury briefing on Iceland's financial crisis with a banker friend, which I think you are alluding to, and passed along messages concerning the taxpayer-owned Royal Bank of Scotland to advisor David Stern, who then, according to the Daily Mail, forwarded them to Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew even attempted to set up a meeting between Epstein and a Libyan dictator at Epstein's request, but the Daily Mail stresses that meeting ultimately never happened. Although Andrew should have never been trying to set up that meeting in the first place.
The issue we've got Linda Jubilee live in the studio is that the Andrew allegations, that go beyond sex, go beyond financial impropriety. This is national security. This is somebody whose actions may have actually worked against the interests of the state.
Yes, that's very, very true. And also there is a reason why senior Polish investigative journalists and the Polish authorities are actually taking a look at Epstein's links with Russia and Mandelson's links with Russia, because they think that there is a national security problem here. And Andrew is right in the middle of that mix. Now, the fact of the matter is, Kinsey's outlined some of this, but Andrew Liana makes it clear in his book Entitlement that all the way through, from the time that Prince Andrew was appointed as a trade envoy to the UK, he was continually going on trips early, leaving them late, so that he could furnish his own business interests, allegedly, before and after, doing whatever he's doing, such as it was, for our country. And the fact of the matter is, in the book, in that particular book, alongside the heinous situation with the trafficking of young girls, is the hideous prospect that many millions of pounds of taxpayers' money in this country has been misspent.
And Kinsey, King Charles has run out of levers to pull in relation to his younger brother, hasn't he? He's no longer Duke of York. He doesn't have the membership of the Order of the Garter. He's not Prince Andrew. There's not too much more you can do other than make the guy homeless, living in a tent in a field somewhere. So now King Charles is a passenger in this awful story.
Yeah, well, my suggestion is throw him under the bus. Tell us all, I'm revolted. I'm disgusted by my brother. I had no clue this was going on. I don't even like the guy. Why would I know his schedule? Why would I talk to him? The king has said recently, I will collaborate. I will contribute in any way, shape, or form with law enforcement as they continue to investigate this. I think that is a great thing. Although I do wish the king would, step up and say, I'm as appalled as you are. I'm disgusted. I had no clue, and I'm distancing myself.
Yeah, the problem there is, Kinsey, that I strongly suspect that King Charles did know about some of the things, not all of the things in detail, but he was well aware of his brother's character. And he was known to say to people in the royal household that Andrew was an accident waiting to happen. And that's the issue here. The issue for the monarchy, I believe, is that certain people, dare I say it, the much, much loved late Queen and his brother, King Charles, may have turned a blind eye to some things they should have paid attention to earlier, and it won't do any good now to say, sorry, I don't know anything about this.
That's a great question and a point from Linda, isn't it, Kinsey? How much did the king know? How much did the queen know? Surely they knew that Andrew was a wrong-un.
Well, when we hear about 26-year-old Russians in their stilettos getting a tour of Buckingham Palace after a nightcap with Andrew and tea, you have to ask yourself, how many witnesses were there wondering why this 20-something is skipping along the Buckingham Palace carpets? I have my own questions. But I also understand that Charles has always hated Andrew, did not give him the time of day, thought he was an imbecile, thought he was just a moron. And so would he know his schedule? Would he even want to know the details of his life? I don't know. I do think that this is a problem that he inherited, and I apologize to those that this offends, but I put a lot of the blame on the late Queen Elizabeth and her council.
Wow.
Why were they not more aggressive?
Is this the mother of all cover-ups? Linda?
I think Kinsey's right that Andrew was known to be her favourite child, that she permitted, a lot of behaviour that should have perhaps been reprimanded. But the fact of the matter is that the royal household, as you know, works in a way where everyone's diaries match up with everyone else. So everyone knew what Prince Andrew was doing. That's how they know he went on trips as a royal trade envoy early and stayed late, because people were well aware of the details of what he was doing. Certainly the courtiers were.
My thanks to the brilliant Linda Jubilee and Kinsey Schofield.
What do you think? You think they're going hard on the Queen and the King? I do. I think Andrew was
We'll get to Keir Starmer in just a second. I want to get your take on Andrew, the former Prince Andrew. My question is this. If you look at the evidence, the alleged evidence that's against him emerging from the Epstein files and now from other sources, that just like Mandelson allegedly, we've got these emails that the then Prince, when he was trade envoy, was passing on confidential British information and communique to Jeffrey Epstein. And we now know at least one other banker friend of his. I said banker. I said banker. Jonathan Rowland, who's the son of David Rowland, who had very close connections to Prince Andrew. So the allegation is that he was passing on these secrets for money. The allegation, with exactly the same evidence, is against Peter Mandelson. Now the police, within seconds, were investigating him criminally down his house, taking boxes away. There's actually more evidence stacked up against the former Prince Andrew than there is against Mandelson. Why haven't the police launched a criminal investigation into the King's brother yet? Is it because he's the King's brother?
I think it is, but not for the. But I do think it's for a slightly different reason. I think it's if they go for Andrew and they miss and they get this wrong, they've got to get it right.
I agree with that.
And I do think that if they get this wrong and he gets away with it, or he gets off on a technicality, everybody will lose their minds over it. And I think that is why this one is taking a little bit longer. Obviously, he is the King's brother, a member of the royal family. That plays a factor in it. But I do think it is more that they don't want to have the kind of, we were the ones that, messed up the Andrew prosecution as a moniker for their careers. And I think that is a bigger factor. But I do think I heard you earlier on, and I think you are right that this kind of deference.
I think there's a bit of calf stopping here, but I think you make a good point. In fairness to the police, I will accept. I think there is an element of my God, it's a royal. Be me ever so humble, sir. The old system. But also, I think you made a good point. I think to be fair to the police, if they are going to officially announce there is a criminal investigation into the King's brother, they've got to get it exactly right. But as I say, they feel they've got it right in the case of Peter Mandelson. They've got to get it right with him as well.
All I can presume as well is that they held two very different positions at the time. So I'm wondering if it's the kind of the legal kind of marker hasn't been met in all the right ways for Andrew to be able to push on the prosecution. So that's why it's taking a little longer. I don't know, but I would just presume that there's lots of little factors that I'm not a lawyer, so I presume that this is what it is. But my theory is on this that they don't want to miss. They can't miss. That's the thing. So fair enough, I suppose. But I think that the police this week, fairly soon, surely within 24 hours. This is Mail on Sunday today. Now there must be a probe into Envoy Andrew. This is all about his business deals when he was trade envoy, his alleged underhand lining of his own pockets while he was supposed to be on British government duty. Also, Gordon Brown, no less, former Prime Minister, saying that Epstein's planes, he had more than one private plane apparently, made 90 flights into Britain carrying sex trafficked women, and that Andrew was, this is the allegation, this is what Gordon Brown says, was central to that sex trafficking operation. So Andrew has got to face financial impropriety allegations and selling British secrets allegedly, and also allegations that he was part and parcel of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Very serious allegations. And I do think this bit about the King being involved in the £12 million, I think, is a very big problem. It's disgusting. I think it's abdication territory, if I'm being brutally honest about this, because this stench is going to stick with the royal family for a very, very long time. And I do think a kind of line drawn and will take over might be on the cards, and they'll use his illness as the excuse to take a step back from royal duties.
It was interesting. It was interesting last week. The Sun, I think it was Thursday morning, sensationally revealed something that we kind of always suspected, that the £12 million that Andrew paid to Virginia Guthrie not to go to civil courts in New York, claiming with her allegations that he sexually assaulted her on 3 different continents, allegations that he continues to deny. But he gave her 12 million quid not to talk about them at a court case. So make of that what you will. He denies her accusations. Nobody believes him, but he continues to do that. The point was, we all knew he couldn't afford that, and the assumption was he went to his mother, the Queen, and she gave. Now the Sun said, yes, indeed, that she did do this to the tune of something like 10 million. But the rest of the money, Prince Philip, God rest his soul, kicked in some money, and that the then Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, now King Charles, chipped in, more than £1 million himself. Now, if that's the case, he immediately denied that. Interestingly, rather forcefully.
I think you would.
Because if it's true, but I, in the end, this isn't about. If the king himself chipped into this, then he has an apology to give us. But he has to apologise for this 12 million quid. Generally, the royal family paid Virginia Guthrie £12 million hush money.
Why does he need to apologize for something he didn't do? He said he didn't give him any money. Well, the scrutiny on King Charles is real. Like, why is he being blamed for his brother's sins? I don't get it. Do you guys?
Money to keep Jeffrey Epstein's sex secrets. That is a bloody bad look for the royal family.
Bringing down the royal family territory.
Yes,
it really is, because
How
it
is
is
that a bad
everything
look?
wrong. It's grubby. It's sleazy.
How is it a bad look if they didn't cover it up?
It's the most disgusting crimes with the most disgusting people involved in it. It is. I don't know how the royal family will get out of this as an optics problem.
And do you know what they were saying at the time? What the general consensus was, the narrative around it
How
was.
is the royal family going to get out of this situation? This situation is really bad for the royal family. It doesn't look good for them. But the question is how they're going to get through this. How they dealing with this? Because look at these gentlemen. They're ready to hang Charles by his neck. Yeah, he didn't look too happy in here. William didn't look too happy in this picture. All right, guys, I had one more video I wanted to show you. And then we're going to shut it down. They're calling him disgusting. Disgusting if King Charles is involved with a $12 million settlement.
Well, we couldn't afford that case to go ahead because it's the Queen's Jubilee celebrations. Well, much as the Queen thoroughly deserved her, was it Diamond Jubilee celebrations, what a great sovereign she was. She did make mistakes, not very many, but this was a massive mistake. They should never, the royal family, handing over £12 million hush money to keep Jeffrey Epstein's secrets, just so that the Queen's Diamond Jubilee celebrations weren't affected. That's no good. The King owes us an apology.
I think he owes a big speech to the nation about a lot of this, actually, if I'm being honest.
Mentioning his damn brother.
Mentioning his...
I don't like the attack on King Charles. I'm sorry. Let me know what you guys think. I think it is unwanted. I think it is unfair to the king to be scrutinized for something that his brother did, and to blame me for it is just horrible. I think William wants to strangle him in the clip.
More of this elliptical stuff.
Oh,
you
no.
know.
This
We're
whole
worried about the victims.
Yeah,
you know.
they know that. What is it? We don't say anything. The kind of line that's out the window now because they're all implicated in it. And I think it's the only way out of it is a kind of mea culpa. This is what went on. This is everything, and that's the.
This is what went on, and this is everything. And what?
Only way I think they can actually kind of get any kind of traction with the public again, where because you see it all the time now, where the king is heckled, William's being heckled about it, and it's like a stench now. And unfortunately, unless they kind of clear the air properly, it's monarchy.
It's an existential problem for the royal
really
family. They're not doing enough classically for the royals. The last time I saw them in this amount of crisis was after the death of Diana, when they seriously misgauged the mood of the public. And the public were upset, were traumatized, and the royal family just didn't really seem to pick up on that. And they had to backtrack, and they had to seriously sort the situation out. Now they're in big crisis now. They got to do something. They got to start talking. They got to start talking about Andrew. They got to start saying sorry for this money. Quickly about Peter Mandelson. Yes.
Oh God, I just can't believe these people talking about they have to say sorry. And
Today's Daily Mail had this extraordinary story about his ghost flights, as organized and paid for by Derek Kosky, isn't it? Derek Pasky, who was a Russian oligarch close to Putin. So all these flights, he was going off to mysterious destinations, and the next day going to conferences on the part of the British government, making decisions that were favorable to this oligarch. Well, the suggestion is, let's stress this. Peter Mandelson insists he's done nothing criminally wrong throughout all of this. But yesterday's Mail asked the question, why was this guy so close to the Kremlin? The basic question is, was Mandelson a Russian spy?
Whether he was a spy or maybe an asset, I'm not sure, but I do think we have to look at the fact that a lot of dirty Russian money has flooded into London, and it is all over the city in general, and I do think that he has some big questions to answer. My big fear is Peter Mandelson is quite smart at times. He may not have done anything illegal. He may know where the line is and have stopped just before the legal kind of qualifier. Now, unfortunately, he does have this tendency to put his feet in it and, get it, up to his neck in it. But I do think on this kind of stuff, I think he knew what he was doing. And I think, maybe. But we'll have to wait to see.
Clever?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, really?
I do. Yes.
Really?
Only because I've heard you on this.
Clever people don't get caught.
No, they do. They do. Because this for me.
How do you know?
Yeah. Well, because
how do you know?
Because for me,
there's all the clever people out there who haven't been caught. Trust me.
Well, there's a lot of people who have been caught. There's a lot of people who have been caught, but also in
clever
America,
people don't get caught.
In America, they get to pay off. Well, he's not that clever.
Can't even take a.
Are they arguing?
I mean, I remember when we were.
It's a bit pathetic, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the fall from grace, wasn't it, from the U.S. ambassador getting arrested in Notting Hill? But
well, he wasn't arrested. He was photographed because he'd been for dinner with George Osborne.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger crime.
He was waiting for an Uber.
I think that's the bigger crime.
It's the one time I felt a lot of sympathy for Peter Mandelson. Yeah, we've all been there. Where is that Dan Hoover?
Yeah,
I can't wait anymore. No, sorry.
Britain's chief prosecutor has said no one is above the law, including Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Let's get reaction now from a legend of royal broadcasting and journalism, Dickie Arbiter, former press secretary to Queen Elizabeth II. Dickie, good morning. Welcome to Talk.
Morning, Mark.
Very good to see you. A fresh headache for the King and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It's not impossible that the King's younger brother could be imprisoned.
It's not impossible, but the police need to first investigate.
Can you imagine him being in prison? That's a big one.
And they seem to be dragging their heels.
Son, the King's brother is in jail.
heels. They are assessing. What are they assessing? Are they assessing Andrew's involvement in Epstein and Maxwell's trafficking? Or are they assessing Andrew's handing over of not necessarily secret documents, but confidential documents? Or are they assessing both? They've got to get on with it, because I think people are getting heartily sick and tired of the authorities dragging their heels.
Given the weight of evidence now at the door of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Dickie, are his protestations of innocence becoming less and less credible by the day?
Yes.
Oh, I think they became less and less credible after that 2019 Newsnight interview. The proof was there in the photograph, which he denied ever having been taken. But Maxwell has crawled out of a jail cell and said in an email that it is genuine. I think Andrew has got to step forward and say exactly what happened. He can't continue hiding behind the veil of monarchy, because he's no longer part of that institution. He's plain Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and he needs to get on with it and let other people get on with their jobs instead of this dragging out on and on and on, and also bringing the monarchy into a state of disrepute.
Who should Andrew Mountbatten Windsor?
In this video, we will review all the criminals scheduled to be executed in
Britain's chief.
Okay, let's move on to I want to show you guys Meghan's PR situation. If I can find it. Oh, I don't see it. Here it is.
It's his 70th birthday party, as the couple had.
Okay, we watched this.
As for Harry,
we saw this already. Let's delete it. Her PR team isn't doing well. I think her shine is leaving us. I think Meghan's shine is leaving us. Let's play Meghan's Valentine's Day. Let's play Valentine's Day with Meghan, and then we'll call it a day.
Say it with chocolate. Okay, where are all my chocolate bars? Okay. How long do I have to wait for you guys to set everything up? I got up at the crack of noon to be here, okay? And you guys aren't even ready? My arms are not covered enough in jewelry. 3 watches is not enough. No, I'm not wearing red. Why the f would I wear red for Valentine's Day? I'm not a red type of girl. I'm a beige type of girl. I'm a beige mom. Where are all my As Ever products? What, am I working with literal idiots here? Because that's what it feels like. That's what it f***ing feels like. Feels like I'm working with my own husband. It's not like I don't ask you to do a million things every single day, okay? Happy Valentine's Day. Now, my show may not have been picked up for a third insufferable season. However, that does not mean that I'm done slinging my overinflated As Ever products. So today I'm back to promote myself. I mean, my brand new limited edition Valentine's Edit bundle, crafted exclusively by my slaves. This curated collection is the perfect gift for Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day for all you sad single fucks out there. Because nothing says I love you quite like a wickless candle, some jars of runny ass jam, and
I don't never look at Andrew the same.
Flour chocolate bars. Speaking of foul chocolate, why don't we test out some of my gourmet chocolate bars? Of course, my favorite chocolate is white chocolate. Actually, my favorite is milk because it's biracial. What the f is in this? Hemp hearts? What the f are hemp hearts? And I thought there were supposed to be flour sprinkles in these bars. I can't even taste the dirt. These should be brimming with flour sprinkles. I asked for flour sprinkles in my white chocolate bars, and you guys did not deliver. There should have been a ton of flour sprinkles in this white chocolate bar, and yet I see none. I want to feel like I have a mouthful of dirt every time I take a bite of one of these white chocolate bars. What do you mean it was a health hazard? They're flour sprinkles. Okay, I know they're not edible, but they should have been in these bars. My chocolate is melting. It should not be melting in my hand right now. All right, let's try another chocolate from my collection, huh? It is
dark chocolate, and it's got stuff in it.
It's got stuff in it.
Okay, the jam inside tastes like ass. Who made it? It's my strawberry jam that's in these chocolate bars? So basically, you're saying that my jam is shit. Is that what you're saying? Because it's exactly what you're saying. So get the f*** out of my fake house. Anyone else want to criticize my jam? Same with chocolate.
Disgusting.
Now let's move on to my most loved and crave-worthy raspberry jam. As you can see, it's in our keepsake packaging, which allows us to upcharge you for the most average run-of-the-mill jam imaginable. This dinky jar is also great for repurposing, whether you want to use it as a vase for
I don't
flowers,
like chocolate,
or a piss jar for long road trips. And if you love the taste of your grandmother's perfume, then you are gonna love my herbal hibiscus tea. Each canister of tea contains 12 servings, which is equal to 12 trips to the porcelain throne. The only throne that I deserve to be on. Of course, this Valentine's bundle wouldn't be complete without my dead, dry as flower sprinkles. They're a great way to add a pop of color or weed killer to any dish.
Weed killer.
Where are my flower sprinkles? Again, where are my flower sprinkles? What do you mean we're out of flower sprinkles? How is that possible? We literally murdered an entire garden of gardenias for these flower sprinkles. How is that possible? If you do not find me some flower sprinkles in the next 1.5 seconds, I am going to murder you. I have to put up with so much shit. I have to put up with so much shit. No, I don't want any more jam. I want my flower sprinkles. I'm not afraid to throw this at your fucking noggin, okay? So give me some flower sprinkles. And in case this product line wasn't already about myself, I've included my favorite signature candle, which I cleverly named number 519. The stench is inspired by my favorite day of all, the day I became a royal. The day I married H. It's priced at $64. However, if you purchase my Valentine's bundle for a measly $185 without tax or shipping, it's included. You better hurry though. This Valentine's bundle won't last long. That's because Netflix is literally begging all of their employees to take any and all of my overstocked inventory. You call this chocolate? This is not chocolate. This is shit. This is darker than my ass, okay? This should not be darker than my ass. How is it possible that we would ever run out of flower sprinkles? A flower sprinkle shortage. Are you f***ing kidding me? There is no such thing as a flower sprinkle shortage. We literally have 2 full storage rooms of flower sprinkles over at Netflix. You think I'm blowing things out of proportion? I am calm. I am calm.
Each one of these murders was a... Say
it with chocolate.
Thumbs up. The Bloomberg interview. We'll come back to your page, honey. Let me do this.
No matter how perfect I try to portray myself, people are still going to find something wrong with my narcissism. This is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, one of the most talked about women in the world. You know, or you may think you know, Meghan Markle, the royal, the tabloid. I have full body chills right now. Welcome to the Jamie Kern-Lima Show. I'm Jamie Kern-Lima, and thank you so much for sitting through that obnoxiously self-elating montage of celebs fawning over how unbelievably inspirational I am. I'm so happy that you're here with me today for what's sure to be an extraordinary episode
complete with inauthenticity, self-victimization, narcissism, and navel-gazing.
She sounds
This
just like
is the
her.
worldwide premiere of Meghan,
Doesn't
Duchess
she?
of Sussex, in her first ever podcast interview. And she's doing it with you and me today, right here on the Jamie Kern-Lima Show. But before we get to the interview, here's yet another self-absorbed montage of me, myself, and I. Enjoy. Ready? I am so excited to say to my amazing friend, Meghan, welcome to the Jamie Kern-Lima Show. Thank you. Thank you for having me. We've never done this on the Jamie Kern-Lima Show before, but we brought in our rocking chairs. We're in our comfy cozies and with not a stitch of makeup on. Literally none. That's right. Except for primer, concealer, foundation, highlighter, contour, blush, mascara, and a little bit of eyeliner. Same, plus a fuck ton of bronzer. Well, I am so honored that you chose me, Jamie Kern-Lima, to be the first person to interview you on the Jamie Kern-Lima Show. It's only because I'm way prettier and skinnier than you. What? Oh, nothing. Thank you so much for being one of the very few people to fall for my contrived and calculated personality. The pleasure is all mine. Of course it is. For those of you who didn't know, Meghan and I go back many, many hours. Probably almost a whole 4 days now. Since forever ago. Longer than most people can even stand being around me. I have full body chills right now. I have no soul, so I can't feel anything. May I call you my rocking chair worthy friend? You most definitely may not. Okay, thank you for being here. Your pleasure. Our friendship is just so multi-layered, and trust is so important. So thank you for trusting me. I trust no one, but you're welcome to think so. Just so everyone knows, you haven't seen any of the questions ahead of time. That's right. I just had my people email you the only topics you're allowed to discuss. So my very first question I want to ask as a friend is, Meghan, how are you? And are you okay? Oh, that's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. What's my line? How are you? I know, you always make it about me. I do. So now let's discuss. Wait, you're supposed to talk about how amazing I am at being a friend to you? Oh, which by the way, you are the most generous friend. You show up for your friends. Oh, stop. Over the course of the one time that I met with you and got to know you, I have discovered that we have so much in common. We do. Yes. Our entrepreneurial spirits, our philanthropic efforts, our severe lack of self-awareness. Well, I'd also like to point out that I'm a mom, a wife, a friend, a biracial person of Africanese descent. I had Oprah on my show once. You did. And I was interviewed by Oprah. Yet another thing we both have in common, being besties with Oprah. Speaking of my fox of a prince husband, H, he just adores the living shit out of me. I can tell. All I can say, I'm getting emotional. Okay, I'm getting emotional now. All I can say is find yourself a man who will worship you, cherish you, and most importantly, love you for the insufferable narcissist that you are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it quits, okay? I want to thank you for sharing this wonderful day with me. That was a skit that about Meghan and her interview with the young lady. Forgot her name. Nemelina, Emily, whatever. Anyway, thank you guys. Kisses and have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. We were off today because of the president's holiday. So no one went to school or whatever. And we're about to go and have some fun at Andretti's. It is an arcade place that has games and bowling. We're supposed to be going bowling today. So we're going to go bowling. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. See who wins. Me, Eric, or Kara. Okay, guys. Can I get some bye-byes in the chat? Can I get some byes? Bye-bye, Maureen. Thank you. Thank you for your love and your support.